Hey everyone, welcome to Miss Watley Presents Old School Tuesday Turnup. I hope everyone had a good weekend because I know I did. I'm just ready to go ahead and start this show. Now listen, there is a song called "You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else." I mean, honestly, for me, if you hear that song, it makes you honestly want to throw a man's clothes out if he says they want to cheat on you. But you know what? I'm gonna let Miss Jones really tell us a story behind that song. Without further ado, please welcome from the Jones Girls, Miss Shirley Jones. Hey, Miss Jones.
Hey Priscilla, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, good.
That's good. That's good.
Celebrating, still celebrating.
I know. I kind of am too. Like, I know. I'm glad it's over, aren't you?
Yes, yes,
Yes, yes. I'm glad we finally got our president. So, hey, I'm happy.
yeah.
So, listen, I'm going to take it all the way back. Before DJDNICE is playing you guys' music, and I see you in the interview with Fat Joe, I'm going to rewind it all the way back. Let's start all the way back to going back to Detroit. What made you want to get into music? Who were you? Who was your influences when you first started out?
My mom, our mom was a very, very popular gospel singer back in the Detroit area back in the day. She was the first black gospel singer that RCA Records signed to their gospel label the same day they signed Little Richard to the pop label. So my mom was the biggest influence. She taught us about how to vocalize. She trained our voices. So all the way, my mom, Mary Frazier Jones.
All right. So, how did you and your sisters decide to go ahead and be in a girl group? Did you guys face any challenges? Did you guys say in the beginning, you know what, maybe we shouldn't, or let's try it to see what happens?
Well, we started out as background singers for our mother.
Hmm.
And what happened was it was my mother and I. Brenda, Valerie, and I are stair steps. We're like a year and a half apart.
Hmm.
The funny story: my mother wanted six boys, but ended up with three girls. And she said every time she had me, she separated from my father. They got back together. She had Brenda, that she separated from my father. They got back together. She
Hmm.
had Valerie, divorced my father. They never got back together. So instead of six boys, she ended up with three girls. And so when that happened, uh, it started with me because I'm the oldest, and she recognized that I had a voice. So what she started doing was she and I started singing.
Hmm.
She would bring me up on stage at 7 years old, and I would sing, Jesus loves me. And then Brenda, when she realized that Brenda had a voice, it was the three of us, and Brenda
Okay.
and I used to sing this song together called "Just the Two of Us"
Mm.
in church with my mom. Then once she found out that Valerie could sing, that's when she really got excited and started training our voices on how to harmonize, because she was also, in addition to being a popular gospel singer, she was also music director for our church, Russell Street Baptist Church in Detroit.
Okay.
So I was looking for that share button. Let's see if I see it. I
Oh, you
have
see it? Yes, please, everyone. Please, you guys can do me a huge favor. Share it so everybody can come watch and me
it,
interview Miss Shirley Jones.
share.
So,
It hasn't popped up yet, but I don't
oh,
see it.
okay.
Or maybe
So,
it.
okay.
I'm
So,
scared to hit it though.
go ahead. You take your time. You got time. Just take your time. So, how did you guys get so lucky into working with Diana Ross from the Supremes? I know not everybody got that lucky back in the day, but how did you guys? How did that even happen? How did you guys, get that opportunity?
Well, we became at 12 years old.
Hmm.
Holland Dozier Holland, who were part of Motown. Detroit is Motown. They heard about us and our harmonies, and they said, "Well, let's try these young girls on some background work for us." We were so successful with that, doing background with Frida Payne, the Honeycomb, uh, that they said, "Oh, they signed us to a record deal."
Okay.
And we had a couple of little local hits, so we were the stuff. At 12 and 13 years old, we were.
Hmm.
And then after that deal wore out, uh, Curtis Mayfield in Chicago heard about us.
Hmm.
And we were like, "Oh my goodness," because some of our idols were the Emotions. because
Yes.
they were out before us, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh God, you guys' harmonies are, just like the, emotions so close together."
Mm-hmm.
And so we were with Curtis Mayfield. Curtis
Mm-hmm.
Mayfield propelled us into doing background for like Linda Clifford. We did some stuff for him. He put out an album on us that became a regional hit. So we went from having local hits in Detroit at 12 and 13 to regional hits in by 16, 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
But the popularity of our of us as far as singing background uh, became really, everybody started wanting to use us, and Holland, Georgia Holland and Motown moved to California, so they started flying us to California to do background work for them. And then once people out there like Cher and
Mm-hmm.
Helen Reddy and Aretha Franklin, Norman Connors, so
Mm-hmm.
we just started doing background. One day, our manager at the time, McKinley Jackson, who is he was the guy behind all the music for Holland Dozier Holland, as far as the strings and horns. Back in the day, they used rhythm sections and strings and horns. He happened to tell us one day, "You guys, I know you're doing your background stuff, but Diana Ross is looking for some background singers." Um, but she's been turning everybody down. So would you all like? And we're like Diana Ross, because the Supremes. We grew up with the Supremes. Diana Ross
Right.
was an idol of ours, and so we said absolutely. Plus, we're from Detroit, so she might like us. So, so we
Right.
went. Yeah, we went up to drove up Laurel Canyon, and we went thinking we were singing, auditioning for her road manager and her music director.
Okay.
But when we were singing, McKinley was playing "Ain't No Mountain High Enough" and "Reach Out and Touch." We had learned those songs. Halfway through "Reach Out and Touch," who comes
Mm-hmm.
out the back room but Diana herself, the lady herself?
Oh wow.
Brenda had to run to the bathroom because she was about to throw up. Valerie and I just stood there looking stupid with our mouths open and our eyes, because we could not believe that she was listening to us. And I guess they did that because, you know, they didn't want us to know, because we probably would have been nervous. The only words out of her mouth was, "Can you guys get passports? We're going to London. You're
Oh.
terrific." Those were her words. And we're like, London? The only place we had been before then was like driving around from Detroit to Chicago, flying from Detroit to California. We had never, ever been out of the country. So
Right.
we got passports, and then we did that entire European tour with her for about 3 months over there in Europe.
Okay, so you guys got lucky that night. So what advice did she give you guys as a being a group? Since she came from a group herself, what advice did she give to you guys?
Well, she told us after the European tour,
Mm-hmm.
which was so successful, she said, "I will tell you girls one thing. You're too good to sing background behind me or anyone else. So what I'm going to do," we were getting ready to do Caesar's Palace then, her residency at Caesar's Palace that she was doing
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 times a year. I change clothes 5 or 6 times. During one of my costume changes, I'm going to bring you out. So
Mm-hmm.
pick a song, and because I'm going to bring you out and bring you out, let you sing, and introduce you to the world. And that's exactly what she did. And
Hmm.
that's how we got with Philly International. And as far as entertaining, I mean, we would stare and watch. We watched her because even today, I think she's one of the greatest entertainers. If you have
Yes.
not seen a Diana Ross show, you really need to see one, because she's still out
Yes.
there performing.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to tell us to, because we were like, how do you get people to love you the way that the audiences do? They feel like
Mm-hmm.
you're actually singing to them. She said, "The trick is, honey, sing to those exit signs." She said, "If you sing to those exit signs, you're reaching everybody in that room." And that's something we learned and practiced. And then Charlie Atkins, who put our shows together, they taught us that. But Diana, watching Diana, and then our first tour as
Hmm.
the Jones Girls was with, of course, the OJs, and Eddie Levert is like one of the greatest entertainers.
Yes.
Well, and he would let us. He and Walter would set three chairs after we did our show, and
Hmm.
we studied those people, and that's why my shows, our shows, will always people say, "Oh my God, you guys are just so terrific." We feel like you're actually uh, singing to us, and that's the whole purpose of being able. Because so many of the young artists now, they don't really know how to duplicate what they do in the studio
Right.
stage because they use auto tunes and all this other stuff, and they
Right.
can't duplicate themselves. And that's something that that's a talent in itself when you learn how to really draw the audience into what you're trying to convey to them vocally.
That's deep because some artists is can't either they don't sound like they did in the
Uh,
studio, or if they're performing live, it's like no,
yeah, because
no, they can't.
they use auto tunes to correct their voices, and you know
Right.
you when you're on stage live, there's no auto tunes there, so you got to really know how to sing in order to get your songs across on stage.
Exactly, and some are not really singing anymore. Like when I was growing up, you had the '90s. Our girls from the '90s, they was really singing. You can hear it, and they can sing a cappella. But now you don't get that. All you get is auto tunes, like you said, and that's like that's not music. That's
Right.
not singing from your heart. That's not really moving the crowd. Or someone like me, I'm sitting here listening, like, no, I don't get nothing out of this.
Right.
So, so that's why I listen to a lot of old school music. I go back and like forget that. I'll go listen to the Jones Girls and
Right.
call it a day. Like
Right.
forget this new school. I'm listening to a lot of old school. People ask me, "How do you know so much?" I listen to a lot of old school because it's real music, something that was really something to listen to.
Right.
Like songs like "You Can You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else." So
What a
that's a
hit.
song, and I'm not look. Let me tell you, that song right there. I mean, how did you guys get so lucky to record that song? Because I ain't gonna lie, today my makeup artist, I had her to listen to it, and she's younger than me, and she was like, "Yeah, you are right. That song doesn't make you want to go skating. The minute it comes on, it makes you go skating." So, how did "You Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else"? How did that song, become? You guys get to record that song?
Gamble and Huff, they wrote that song, and they also wrote "I Just Love the Man," and they
Yes.
yeah, they wrote that. So that feeling when when they presented the song to us, I was like, oh, okay, you're gonna make me love somebody else. And here that song came out in 1979. It was so prevalent then because a lot of women were like, okay, hey, you keep messing around, I'm going somewhere.
Right, I'm gonna throw your
So
clothes out.
that here all these we're talking 40 years later,
Uh-huh.
your generation young girls are now saying the same thing. You mess around, hey, it's somebody else out there, man, that's gonna come and get this. So
Right. Right.
and it was fun singing that song. It was fun recording "I Just Love the Man."
Hmm.
But those are all Gamble and Huff songs. They always wrote uh true songs to relationships, things that women and men deal with, and I love
Hmm.
that about their writing.
Right, you keep saying Gamble and Huff, tall boy over there didn't earlier didn't know. And I'm saying I'm younger than you, and I know who Gamble is.
Gamble,
He over there shaking his head. I know who Gamble and Huff. He's like, who
right,
is Gamble? And we're trying to tell him you don't know who Gamble and Huff is. But
right.
it's funny, you keep saying it. He's sitting there shaking his head. But no, like one person wanted me to ask you, what was the inspiration behind Nights Over Egypt?
Nice Over Egypt. To be honest with you, when it was first presented to us, written by Dexter Wanzel and Cynthia Biggs did the lyrics, we didn't really think it was for us. We thought it was a bit too jazzy, and where we were going in the hardcore R&B direction.
Mm-hmm.
But when they presented it, Valerie, my youngest sister,
Mm-hmm.
said, "No, we should try it. We should try it." So we, of course, tried a couple of different angles, approaches to it. But then we all sat one night and said, the best way to do this is let's try all unison and harmony.
Mm-hmm.
No lead singer, no step outs. Just let the unison and harmony be the lead voice. And oh my goodness, that song now is as much of a staple, if not more so, when you have people like Anderson Paak,
Mm-hmm.
the Lovingness, saying that's one of his favorite songs. Mary J. Blige, my girl, saying, "Girl, I work out to that song every single day."
Right.
And so many of the younger generation uh, love Nights Over Egypt, and I think the reason why is because it just gives you this feeling of just I can do anything. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
relaxing right now. The world is a-okay. Hey,
Yes.
it's just that's the type of song it is musically. It just touches you and takes you there, makes you think back. And the song is actually about Cleopatra. And
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia, the girl that wrote it, was telling me that she went to the library to make sure all of the writing, the lyrics that she was choosing, that they were perfect, that they were the perfect lyrics from that time period, to make sure, like, women fellaheen, to wear veils, to be seen by no one. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of writing back in the day, the writers put so much emphasis on making sure that the lyrics were absolutely perfect for the song and for the music that they were writing to.
Wow. So being in a girl group, and back then there were girl groups in the some 60s, the 70s, the 80s, in the 90s, but now there are no really, no more than like the Pussycat Dolls, and you just don't get girl groups at all. How come girl groups just don't last anymore? Like, what happens? Why don't they last as long as they should be lasting?
Because men come in and start whispering in ears, and
Mm-hmm.
you know which happened, it happened with us, and then other issues where women want to start families, wherein men, they can stay together, they can start their families, but the woman is the one that births the child, has
Mm-hmm.
to take care of a child, and at those points in life, you have to make a choice. Can I stay out here, or can I stay with this group, or do I
Mm-hmm.
take time to raise my family? And that's what happened, with that's what happens with a lot of female groups, especially female groups that are young, and then go grow into womanhood. You
Mm-hmm.
start wanting to have a family, and the singing doesn't become as important as your babies. So
Right. So, what makes a group successful? What does make a girl group successful?
um being together, the records, my sisters and I, the some of the most memories that I have with them are when we would be together, and it was just the three of us. No boyfriends, no husbands. The long before our kids, when
Mm-hmm.
we would just kick it, we'd be either working on something for our own album, or we
Mm-hmm.
would be working on background for, say, like Aretha or Jean Carn
Mm-hmm.
or Phyllis Hyman. We did background for her. We did background for just about everybody, and we'd just be kicking it in the room, the three of us,
Mm-hmm.
and we would laugh and talk, and be talking about what we were going to do on our next tour and things like that. So
Right.
those are some of the fondest memories that I have, and being with my sisters, and I'm sure most girl groups have those memories, but we just love working together.
Right. Did you guys ever feel like you guys had to compete against other girl groups from back
No,
then?
no, it's so funny how the industry try to, oh, this group against that group, because the back in the day they were trying to compete, oh, the Jones Girls and the Emotions, the Jones Girls, but we were friends with the Emotions.
Right.
We loved and respected each other, and still to this day, because I did a show with them about maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And but I mean, they talked about it. We used to go to be at parties together. We did different record conventions and stuff together. But of course, a lot of times the media, they always want to say that there's some kind of spat going on with
Right,
somebody
when it was not, when
when
you
it's
all the because
not.
between you guys and the Emotions, you guys are the sister groups, and then you
Yes,
had the Ladies of Sky too. You had them as well, all
yeah,
sister groups, and it's
yes.
not.
Sister
Right.
Sledge, Kathy Sledge, and I
The
are
Pointer
friends to this
Sisters.
day. Yes, the Pointer
Right.
Sisters, and the Pointer Sisters, and the three of us, we all got our hair braided back in the day when everybody was wearing braids by the same girl. She'd be finishing up June Pointer, and I'd
Hmm.
be coming in for back in the day. It would take 12 hours when they put those braids in your hair. Sometimes 2 days, and she'd finish up. We all had the same braider back in the day. So we all knew each other. We ran in the same circles, and there
Hmm.
was no competition whatsoever. Everybody was in their own lane.
That's what's up. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Just all being, being friends instead of media just, sit there trying to sabotage. And it wasn't like that. Just
Not at
being
all.
friends, just
Right.
sitting there, giving everyone their compliment and making sure we like if give a shout out to each person. You don't get that anymore because, like I said, it's not enough girl groups around as it is now. So you
Right.
don't get that anymore.
And
And
even with
uh-huh.
shows, we would go to the Pointer Sisters show. They give a shout out. Oh, the Jones girls are in the audience, or when the Emotions, or in Vogue, because in Vogue would come to some of our shows when we were over in London, especially because they would be working in London, or some part of Europe at the same time, and we
Hmm.
would give a shout out. Hey, in Vogue is in Vogue's in the audience, everybody, and of course the audience would go crazy, and we it was just no animosity, no feeling like we were in competition with, because as I said, everybody was in their own lane, just having fun and singing.
Right, right. So you guys appear. I asked a question this to every because I looked up everybody from you to anyone I've interviewed. You guys appeared on Soul Train twice, performing "Dance Turn to Romance" and "Children of the Night." What is that like? Just being on Soul Train because now they have the show The American Soul about Don
Right.
Cornelius, and I'm like huge fan. I watch myself. But what is it like, just like knowing that you appeared on Soul Train and having that
Um.
opportunity?
Oh man, when we when we did Soul Train, it's so funny because that particular Soul Train show, Brenda cracked cracked a nail,
Mhm.
and oh my God, we were always known for our nails and all that, and she cracked a nail, and they were trying to glue it together, and they had to postpone the taping for about an hour for them to get a manicurist in there to fix her nail, because she did not want glue on it. She didn't want anything. She wanted that nail, which we kept saying nobody's gonna see the crack in the nail. But this was Soul Train. She's like, this is Soul Train. My
Right.
nails gotta be right. So that's how important it was, uh, for us, and the excitement, because back in the day, Soul Train was the place, and for
Yes.
us to actually be on there and see those dancers, Jody Watley and all those guys, the from the that actually said, we were more excited to see them because they were really popular as dancers back then. So that was amazing, but again, we wanted everything to be perfect, from the outfits that we wore, which were designed by Linda Stokes, who
Hmm.
designs absolutely everybody now, to our
Okay.
nails.
Okay, yeah, because I remember when I was a kid. So when it went off, I used to watch Soul Train myself Saturday, sit there and watch it. And by that time, it was the '90s generation, then the 2000s, new artists coming out. But now you can actually go back and go to YouTube, and that's how I was able to pull up you guys' video and actually watch. Like, dang, look at the Jones Girls on Soul Train. But you would never know that had happened with your sister.
Right.
You didn't see all that. All you see guys on stage is like, what was it like just being at that moment, just being having the opportunity to be on that stage? And
Oh
I was
man.
like, yes.
And to actually have Don Cornelius interview us, and
Mm-hmm.
that was, you can't imagine those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I have wonderful, wonderful memories of all those days, and sometimes you wish you could just propel yourself back to those days, because
Right.
music was popping.
Mm-hmm.
There was not as much stress. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
we had the racial problems and everything, but we as a people were so much more united back then,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I hope for now with this new administration.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope, because a lot of it has this past 4 years have divided us. And I think with everything that has happened, especially with the killing on camera of George
Mhm.
Floyd, it has made us realize we've got a lot of work to do to
Yes.
unite amongst ourselves first, and then unite with with the rest of the world. But we've got to come, and it has brought us together, and I love seeing the unity that I see amongst us now.
Right. So what you went on and in by the 80s, you had your own solo career.
Yes.
Yes. So what made you want to start your own solo career after being in the group with your sisters?
Well, what happened was Brenda got married, and decided to have a family and moved to Atlanta. We were all living in California at the time.
Hmm.
Valerie had never had the opportunity to go to college, where Brenda and I had.
Hmm.
I went to Wayne State University and then continued at UCLA in California, and Brenda went to Wayne State. Valerie had, when she decided that she did, she said, well, if Brenda's gonna get married and start a family, then that'll give me an opportunity to, go check out college. So she went back to Detroit to go to school, and I was just trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do? Because I knew I still wanted to sing. And
Hmm.
Kenny Gamble happened to call me. He said, "So what you doing?" I said, "Well, trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because I'm going to say I want to sing." And he said, "Well,
Hmm.
how about why you want to try to do a solo album?" And I'm like, "Solo album? Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Even though people had approached me because I'm lead singer, I was the lead singer. They had approached me about that prior, but no, it was always going to be me and my sisters. Uh, but I said, okay, let's try it. And sure enough, I went back to Philadelphia and we recorded the Always in the Mood album. And out the box, Do You Get Enough Love was number one. It
All
became
right.
number one record in 1986, August of 1986. For 3 weeks, it stayed number one.
Okay. That's what's up. So did you feel like, so did you do a second album or you just say, you know what, the first album I'm just gonna not gonna do it? Or did you
I
decide, you
did
know
do
what?
I did do a second album, but it was in London.
Okay.
It was in London, and it was called With You.
Hmm.
But I did not do a second album with Phil International because after that album, hip hop, became really, really big, and Gamble and Huff kind of pulled back out of the music industry.
Yes.
Yeah, so uh, I went over to London and recorded that album that has never been released over here, and I'm thinking about releasing it. But right now, I'm trying to finish up the album that I'm doing for my two sisters, which is called In Loving Memory, and
Okay.
I'm redoing some of the songs that we did together, as well as some new songs that are all dedicated to Brenda and Val.
Okay, I can't wait to hear that one. I'm gonna
Yeah.
definitely be right there. So I know everybody wants to know the question about who can I run to. So in like 1995, the girl group from Atlanta, Xscape, came out of nowhere with "Who Can I Run To." So my generation, I told you one day I was listening to DJDNICE and it was playing it. "Who Can I Run To?" It was your version, and I'm like, what in the world? Wait a minute. I'm like, Miss Jones, I hit you up. I'm like, I know the Escape version. I didn't know you. You're like, yeah, that was our version. That
Right.
was us first. It was our version.
We did.
But then, so what is it like? Did come like I was saying earlier when I asked you about DJ Luke Nasty? 2014 came DJ Luke Nasty with Might Be, and he did a little sample of it. He did the rap version of it. But what is it like to just have from go to you guys' version for one generation, come in Escape for my generation, then you get DJ Luke Nasty for 2014. That's three different generations of who can I run to. What is it like knowing these artists that have sampled you guys, your hit song for different generations?
Well, I think I love it. In fact, Escape, the couple of the girls, so they said, "Oh my goodness!" When they met me, they're like, "Oh my goodness, we don't think we did." Who can I run to? And just I said, "You guys did a terrific job and
Yes.
sold 2 million copies." I said, "But hey." it was on the B side of "You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else." So we sold a couple of million copies too. And I said, you guys did a terrific job. But the version that I like that song so much that my current single
Mhm.
is my own sample of "Who Can I Run To," and it's called "I Won't Tell." And people can get that. You can download that on any of the streaming platforms, and it's a killer song because it's about an illicit relationship, but it's all the music is who can I run to, and then my son and nephew, their
Mhm.
hip hop version, "Who Can I Run To,"
Yeah, I told
video
you I heard that.
that
Yes.
that's killing too, and that's the one I'm proud of because that's like me passing the baton on to them. In fact, Friday we're releasing a remake of Nights of Egypt hip hop
Oh, okay.
called Nights Over Champagne, and I'm featured on it, and it is
Okay.
it's gonna be a killer. It comes out on Friday. Released under my son Cam Jones. He calls himself Cam Jones and Phelps. Yeah, Jones Connection.
Okay.
So
Yes.
people
So,
for that.
would you ever consider performing with Escape with the song? I would love to. Like, I could see you guys at a war show and then bringing you out and performing. Who can I run to? That
I would
just.
love to. I would love to, and I do hope that happens one day because that's one of my favorite songs to perform.
Mhm.
Because the lyrics, it is just such a beautiful song, and I would love to do that one day.
But see, I think I told you they're not the only ones who sampled one of your songs. I told you, the movie House Party 3, and I had
Yeah.
to go Google it. And at the end of the movie, that's in credits after they got married, is they played a song "I Just Love a Man." That's how I first heard
Mm-hmm.
the song from the movie House Party 3. But what happened was when I Googled it, I wanted to Google the other day, it was done by Everyday Emotions. And I'm like, I never heard of them. So I listened to it. I'm like, that is a song from House Party 3. But Google said they sampled it from the Jones Girls.
Right.
So what is just like having another group now sampling another one of your songs, but it was put on a movie this time.
Yeah, I mean, what I have no control over that. It's just validation that the music was so good that people want to keep sampling
Hmm.
and that just keeps it and keeps us, the Jones Girls name, out there even more.
Yes. And they're not the only ones now. Did you have DJ D Nice? You have. I saw you where
Yes.
he's been playing your music. He brought you on
Yeah.
there live. I seen it. I seen it myself. Fat Joe, I heard he did an interview with you. He was sitting
Yeah.
there talking. He's like, man, this is Shirley Jones and the Jones Girls. What is it like having that recognition of those guys coming in now, bringing to a new generation, and they
Yeah.
get to know, be more familiar with the Jones Girls music.
Yeah, that and my son and nephew, they're all these people. I don't think I ever would have met D Nice or Fat Joe if it hadn't been for this pandemic, the quarantine.
Right.
We it's
Mm-hmm.
one thing about it is that musically we have all been drawn in to meet each other via Zoom
Mm-hmm.
and platforms like this, which is a beautiful thing because
Mm-hmm.
I always believe that music is the healer. Music is the healing form of where you can just play some music and just whatever mood it put you take you to whatever mood you want to
Yes.
be in. Is there some good music to take you there? And
Mm-hmm.
meeting all these people via, and I hope to meet them one day in person because D Nice was saying that after the pandemic is over, he's taking Club Quarantine on the road, and he said
Yes.
once he comes to Atlanta, he definitely wants me to be a part of that, and I hope to meet him because he has truly brought a bunch of people into knowing more, learning, and wanting to know more about the Jones Girls. So,
Yes.
and that's a
Yes.
that's a blessing to me
Yes. And I
because
got to hear
because
who can I run to because of him because I was familiar with and
with
I got
Escape's
some
version,
yes
yeah,
Escape's version, so I got familiar and I hit you up like Miss Jones, DJ D Nice sitting over playing your music.
yeah, yeah,
So I got familiar and then I sent you the video. Hey, I recorded it and I sent it straight to you. Like, hey, he's over here playing you guys' music and everything. So
yeah,
I was right there. Yes, yes, yes. And due to this quarantine, I mean, it has, but he's not playing. You guys, not the only music he plays, but he's opening other old school artists and making the new generation know their music just as well, like from the
Oh yeah.
Sister Sledge, Thinking of You, done by them. It's like every artist he's hitting up and it's like, that's what I'm talking about. Play all that old school music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, he is, and I'm really so appreciative to him, and I jump on there as often as I can to just check out his set, and he's jamming, and he's getting he is so deserving
Mm-hmm.
because he's killing it out there. He just I
Yes.
sometimes when I'm not watching TV, I'll just click on and oh what and his sets always make me just want to dance and feel
I'll
good.
be right there because sometimes
Yes.
I have caught you in there. I'm like, Miss Jones, hey, you
Yeah.
extra sauce? Like, hey,
Yeah.
I'll be right there too. Like, oh my god. So you have been a girl group. You had a successful solo career. What advice would you give to someone who wants to do both? Who wants to be a singer at this point? What advice would you give them?
Just hang in there and concentrate on your vocals. Because me now, even to this day, I still have a vocal coach for when I'm going out on a major tour. I have him work me out, especially on my highs, and so that I can uh, have that stamina to be on stage to do an hour and a half show, and
Mm-hmm.
and give people what they want to hear and bring
Mm-hmm.
them into the music, into the experience of the Jones Girls. So
Mm-hmm.
I say stay at it, but keep your vocal cords sharp by
Mm-hmm.
singing constantly. Send your music out to different places, and just don't take your foot off the gas. And eventually, you will be successful. It will come, and with a lot of prayer.
Yes, 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 yes. A lot of prayer. Trust me, I know.
Yeah,
So you've been in this business for 50 years.
yeah,
50 years you've been in this
yeah.
business. That's a long time. That's amazing. A
Amazing.
true legend. A true legend.
Amazing.
What has the music industry, can you say for yourself, has taught you?
The music industry has taught me. Well, I've taken out time, say the past 15 years or so, to actually learn the business of music.
Okay.
And it can be disappointing at times, the business side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But once you really know and you direct your writings, because I also write music, and you direct your writings and your talent into the business end of it, um, and look at more continued uh, success.
Mm-hmm.
The After the singing part, may come to an end. That's what it's taught me. So that's what I'm doing now, writing my own stuff, owning my masters, so
Mm-hmm.
that you know when if the day comes when I'm not out there performing, which I hope never comes, because I just absolutely love performing, that music monies and is still coming in from owning my music now and my masters.
What has been your best performance so far?
mm, I don't know, I've had several. I would say the last several that I did in London last year and this year,
Mm-hmm.
because my goal has been to keep the music of the Jones Girls alive. And I think that uh, every show that I've been doing has been helping me with that, and it's a whole different way that I perform now. It's almost like me and my sisters are on stage, even though they're not there. But my whole attitude on stage now, these last performances since Brenda's passing, has been um, completely different, because I'm out there just so determined to make people remember those beautiful harmonies, the sounds, and the songs of the Jones Girls. So the last several performances were uh, 2019, and then the last one that I did in February of 2020 were my favorites.
Yes, I seen that February one in February. That's the one I had Tall Boy to air. It's airing right now. I found on YouTube when I was like, get that one. That's what we're gonna use, that one right
Yeah.
there. Last one. That's and it's airing right now. What is the next chapter for Shirley Jones?
The next chapter for me is hopefully more singing out there. More singing out there because I got shows booked through all of 2021. Hopefully, if we can get it going. Uh, and I'm just going to be out there spreading
Yes.
love, spreading that music, the sounds of my sisters and and just spreading love because we all need it. We all need
Mm-hmm.
it. I want people to be able to come on out and know that, hey, when they come to experience the Jones Girls show, that they're going to leave there with a huge smile on their face and a determination to keep on doing whatever they possibly can to make life just a little bit better for everybody.
I like that. I really like that. Ms. Jones, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to interview. Where can your fans come see you at? Where, what platform, what link, what
You,
social media?
you could come to my website,
Mm-hmm.
shirleyjonesgirl.com, Jones Girl with no S on the end. And then on Facebook and Instagram, it's uh, Shirley Jones of the Jones Girls. So just follow me, hit me up, and yeah, I always respond. And I just love it. I love hearing from friends, and the people call them fans, but I consider everybody friends. So I love hearing from friends. And I just want to
Okay.
say to people everywhere, do you get enough, get enough, get enough, get enough love? I want to know, baby, do you? Do you? So give love, get love.
Hey, I know that's right. Ms. Jones, I want to thank you for allowing me to just coming in here, allow me to interview you. Your story was amazing. I loved it. I learned a lot of things that I didn't know. But hey, now I know, so does everybody else. And also, thank you to my producer, my production guy, Tall Boy. He's sitting over there. He's sitting over. Hey, say hi, Tall Boy.
Hey, tall boy.
He's sitting over there just doing whatever. He over making faces, laughing, especially when I said about Huff. He was like, "Yeah, he didn't know." Like I
Right.
been trying to tell him earlier. But listen, you guys, thank you for turning and tuning into the one and only Miss Watley Present Tuesday Turn Up. Thank you, and also yes, yes, and I want to say also, I hope you guys enjoy the intro song and the end up in the ending song, please. So, Tall Boy, what are you talking? He's doing something. Oh, the wine glass. Oh yeah, yeah. He wants me on my wine
Cheers.
glass. Thanks. Cheers. Thank you. Yes.
Cheers.
Maybe next time I have something in it. But however, I want you guys to know I will not be here next Tuesday. Sorry. I'm pretty sure all of you probably all disappointed. I'll be back in 2 weeks on the 24th with another artist, but wait till the flyer goes up. But I'm not going to tell you who it is. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks on the 24th. You guys have a good night. Stay safe. Stay blessed. And Miss Jones, thank you for being here. And you have a good night. Bye
God
bye,
bless.
everyone.